Scorpio, the money wasn't lost. It's coming after a death. Something powerful is making its way toward you. And what may have seemed like an ending was, in truth, a divine beginning. Loss has a way of silencing the world around us. But for those who carry deep spiritual awareness like you do, it also awakens something ancient within, something sacred. When a soul departs, the universe does not leave that space empty. Instead, it entrusts someone with a legacy of its material, often spiritual, always purposeful. And today, Scorpio, it may be you. If you've been sensing a shift, an intuitive nudge, a dream that keeps returning, a name that keeps showing up, a strange alignment of moments, it's not random. You're not imagining it. You're being called, not just to heal, but to receive. There is a message hidden inside this moment of loss, and that message is this: you are ready now to inherit what was always meant for you. You may not have seen it coming, an inheritance, a financial opportunity, an unclaimed blessing, but it's real, and it's not about luck or gain. It's about continuation, a sacred torch passed through the veil, and in the quiet stillness after someone's departure, that torch often lands in the hands of someone with enough depth, resilience, and devotion to carry it forward. That someone is often a Scorpio. This isn't about taking advantage of loss. It's about honoring the soul who left. Their energy didn't disappear. It transformed, and it's moving toward you with intention, because what they couldn't complete, what they couldn't claim, might now be yours to fulfill. And by stepping into that, you're not betraying their memory. You're extending it. There's something stirring in your spirit right now because you feel the truth of this. A name on a document, a letter in the mail, a long-forgotten account, a new idea that seems too perfect to be coincidence. Watch for the signs, because they're everywhere now, and they're not subtle anymore. But to receive what's arriving, you must first say yes to yourself. That means letting go of guilt, releasing the fear of being seen in abundance. It means understanding that your worth isn't based on struggle, but on your readiness to do something good with what's been handed to you. Scorpio, you've walked through fire again and again. You've held silence in your bones while others spoke loudly. You've sacrificed peace so others could have theirs, but now something shifts. The balance returns, the doors open, and what once seemed distant now begins to take shape right before your eyes. Let me take a moment to thank you deeply for being here. Every like, every comment you leave, every moment you choose to subscribe to Miracle of the Sign brings you closer to this soul familiar and allows us to keep sharing these messages of deep transformation and divine timing. Your presence here is sacred, and your support gives this space the strength to reach others like you. And trust me, Scorpio, you're going to want to stay with me until the very last word of today's message, because what the universe is about to reveal is breathtaking, and it has everything to do with your name, your path, and your readiness to finally receive. Tell me in the comments below, do you feel something waking up inside of you? Say it out loud. I'm ready to step into the legacy that was meant for me, because this is not coincidence. This is calling. Scorpio, when we talk about the energy of death through the lens of astrology and cosmic awareness, we are not speaking of endings in the way the world often defines them. We're speaking of portals, of transitions, of sacred rearrangements in the unseen realms that begin to ripple into the material world. In both astrology and the tarot, the death card or card is not a harbinger of sorrow. It's a sacred symbol of initiation, of cycles closing so that new ones can emerge with divine precision. And when a soul departs this plane, the energetic blueprint they carried does not dissolve. It reorganizes. It seeks out a vessel worthy of continuing its resonance. Often, it finds its way into the person most aligned with depth, with transformation, with the sacred silence that follows grief. That vessel might be you. You may not even realize it at first. The shift begins softly, like the quiet turning of a page deep in your soul. Perhaps you felt a sudden clarity where confusion used to live. A memory you can't explain resurfaces. You find yourself waking with an idea that seems planted from beyond, or maybe the world around you begins to mirror the shift. An unexpected message, a legal notice, a conversation that drops a key into your hand. These are not coincidences. They are coordinates. They are the way divine energy reorients your path after it has been interrupted by loss. And here's what I want you to understand with your whole heart. This energy being passed on to you is not something random, nor is it solely material. Yes, sometimes it arrives as an inheritance, a contract, a financial surprise, but more often and more profoundly, it arrives as a new sense of direction, a reawakening of your soul's mission, a door opening within that you didn't even know existed. And through that door walks the legacy of someone who couldn't finish what they started. The moment you become aware of it is the moment it begins to root within you. From an energetic standpoint, the universe does not allow space to remain empty. Where one spirit exits, another energy must rise. It's the law of return. Just as water fills the shape of what holds it, energy fills the heart that can carry it forward. You, Scorpio, with your deep emotional intuition, your capacity to hold pain and purpose at the same time, are uniquely positioned to carry this unseen gift with reverence and power. Let me invite you to think about this as more than personal. This is ancestral. This is generational. This is cosmic. And when you begin to say, even quietly to yourself, every soul that leaves me an invisible gift, you are not just speaking poetry. You are acknowledging the weight and wonder of the exchange that is unfolding within your life. You are honoring not only the departed, but the sacred rhythm of becoming. This is where the act of receiving becomes a sacred practice. This is where surrender becomes your strength. It's not about being passive, but about being available, to be open-hearted enough to say yes to what is meant for you, even if it comes through loss, even if it doesn't yet make sense, even if it stirs emotions that feel unfamiliar, because beneath the surface of what appears painful lies a coded invitation to rise, not just for yourself, but for the lineage you belong to, and the future you are quietly shaping. And in this quiet, soul-lit space, you're being reminded that you are never left empty-handed, that something greater than logic is at work in your life, something that speaks the language of divine order, and you are not merely witnessing it, you are being written into it, not as a passive observer, but as an active receiver of the light that follows death, the mission that remains, the blessing that is now looking for you. Scorpio, when we speak of balance in the universe, we are not talking about a vague sense of karma or abstract justice. We're speaking of a sacred recalibration that has been long in the making, one that recognizes your unseen efforts, your quiet sacrifices, and the emotional labor that you've carried like a stone in your heart for far too long. The truth is, the universe doesn't randomly reward or punish. It responds to frequency, to alignment, to the consistent vibration of your choices, your intentions, and your willingness to hold space for others even when no one saw it. So when blessings begin to arrive peacefully after a loss, they are not charity. They are not consolation prizes. They are a correction, a rebalancing of what had tipped too far toward sacrifice. In astrology, Scorpio governs the realm of transformation, yes, but also of depth. You carry the weight of emotional undercurrents that many never even touch. You've chosen silence when you could have spoken out. You've stepped back so others could shine. You've told yourself that maybe the timing wasn't right, or worse, that maybe you didn't deserve more. But now something greater than your fears is rising. The scales are tipping that in your favor out of favoritism, but because that is what justice looks like in a divinely ordered universe. To receive what is meant for you is not selfish. It's not greedy. It's responsible. When you open your arms to receive something that someone else could not carry across the threshold of this life, you are not taking from them, you are continuing something for them. And that act, Scorpio, is sacred, because transformation in its highest form is not only about letting go. It is about picking up what was once abandoned or incomplete and bringing it to fulfillment. That's why this moment in your life may feel both beautiful and heavy, because it is. You're standing in the middle of divine compensation, not a reward, but a realignment, not luck, but law. When Jesus said in Luke 16:10, "Whoever is faithful with very little will also be faithful with much," he was speaking to the truth that what we nurture in secret, what we honor in the quiet, forgotten place, does not go unnoticed by the Creator or the energetic laws that govern this universe. You have been faithful in the shadows, Scorpio, in the hard places, in the long nights, and the moments no one clapped for you. And now the flow begins to shift. The current that once moved away from you begins to turn. But to step into that stream requires a different kind of courage to receive, to believe that you are not only allowed to be blessed, but that your blessing is the fulfillment of a promise that was written long before this season of your life began. When you say, "I am worthy of receiving the abundance others couldn't enjoy," you're not making a claim over someone else's loss. You're affirming your readiness to carry forward the abundance they could not hold. You're choosing to honor their path by continuing it, and in doing so you help restore balance in it, just in your life, but in the greater fabric of spiritual history that we are all connected to. So let it come, let it arrive, not because you begged for it, not because you manipulated it, but because you were faithful, because you held on, because you kept showing up with a heart still willing to love, to trust, and to believe in something more. The universe sees that, and now it's responding. Scorpio, when repeating numbers began to appear in your path, 111, 444, 818, it is not by chance, nor is it simply a moment of curiosity to be dismissed. It is resonance, a form of sacred communication between the frequency you've been emitting and the universal response that is now returning to you. In numerology, these are not just symbols. They are energetic codis activation points designed to awaken your inner compass and redirect your attention toward what is unfolding on a higher plane. Seeing 111 often means the mind is aligning with divine inspiration, signaling that a new beginning is forming just beneath the surface. It is the nudge that says something new wants to be born through you. The 444 reminds you of foundation, stability, and support. It speaks of unseen forces surrounding you, reinforcing what you've been building with quiet faith. And 818 is the call of abundance, an energetic doorway into a phase of financial renewal and deep spiritual self-worth. These numbers are not warnings, they are invitations to participate consciously in your own unfolding story. If this sounds abstract, allow yourself to feel instead of analyze. You may not always know what's shifting, but you feel it. That's because energy speaks in feeling before it speaks in form. When your spirit becomes sensitive to symbols like numbers or colors, it's a sign that you are no longer just living from the physical world, but from the soul outward. And that's exactly where your legacy begins to awaken. A legacy is not only what you leave behind, it's what you're brave enough to carry forward. It lives in your choices, in your willingness to receive, and in your decision to honor what was passed to you with reverence and purpose. This is why color becomes so important in moments like these. It is more than aesthetics, it's vibrational. And right now, Scorpio, the frequency that surrounds you most powerfully is the color deep violet. It's not only the color of mystery or royalty. Violet is the wavelength that exists on the edge between visible light and the unknown. It is the color of transcendence. It soothes while it empowers. It calms while it restores. When you surround yourself with violet energy through what you wear, what you place near your body, or what you meditate with, you are inviting the energy of transformation, leadership, and receptivity into your field. And these are the exact qualities you need to step fully into what has been spiritually set aside for you. You are being repatterned quietly, steadily, and with divine precision. The presence of violet, especially when paired with elements like amethyst, lavender, or candlelight, reminds your system to stay open, to stay soft, even as you rise in strength. There is no need to force or chase. Your task is to stay attuned, to listen when the numbers repeat, to notice how you feel when a certain color draws you in, to recognize that these are not distractions, but directions. You see, the universe is always speaking, but it's never louder than your own internal narrative. So when you begin to honor these signs not as superstition, but as sacred language, you'll shift the entire way energy moves through your life. You become the vessel through which legacy continues, not because you demanded it, but because you were aligned enough to receive it. In this way, every number becomes a blessing, every color becomes a message, every quiet nudge becomes confirmation, and your journey into inheritance, spiritual, emotional, and yes, financial backs not just possible, but inevitable, because the signs are already here, and they've been calling your name, Scorpio. After such a profound energetic shift, after recognizing that what you're receiving is not luck but justice, not coincidence, to cosmic alignment, it's only natural that your spirit begins to seek a moment of stillness, a place where the external echoes fade, and something within you asks, what do I do with this now? This is the moment where receiving becomes sacred, where abundance, purpose, and legacy meet something even deeper, presence. Because no matter how much is being offered to you, the true transformation begins when you consciously choose to meet it with devotion. You are a sign governed by depth, by intensity, by the sacred art of looking inward while the world spins outward. So, it is no surprise that the next step isn't a loud one, it's quiet. It's reflective, and yet it holds immeasurable power. In astrology, the 8th house is house ruled by Scorpio, the house of shared resources, death, rebirth, and spiritual contracts. But what's often overlooked is its connection to psychological integration. It's not just about what you inherit, it's about how you internalize it. And that internalization, that heart space integration, is what unlocks the next level of embodiment. Without it, even the most miraculous gift will remain just out of reach. This is why taking time to anchor your awareness, to pause, to breathe, to reflect in silence is more than just spiritual hygiene. It is energetic alignment. The law of attraction doesn't respond to effort alone. It responds to alignment, and alignment requires awareness. When you light a candle, when you journal, when you sit in stillness and simply whisper to the universe, I receive this not in guilt, but in grace, you're not just being spiritual, you're becoming available. The universe, in its infinite intelligence, does not force entry. It waits to be invited, and your invitation is prayer, not the performative kind, but the intimate kind. The kind where your heart kneels even if your body does not. The kind that doesn't ask for more but simply acknowledges, this is sacred, and I'm listening. When you affirm something like, my prosperity honors those who are no longer here, you're declaring that what you're receiving is not random, and it's not only for you. You're becoming a vessel of continuation, and that intention alone transforms everything. In energy work, we often say that the vibration of gratitude holds the same frequency as abundance. But gratitude doesn't just mean saying thank you, it means embodying reverence. It means holding what comes to you as precious. And when that abundance is tied to someone who has passed, your acceptance becomes an offering. Your success becomes a tribute. Your joy becomes a living continuation of the love they once gave, the dreams they perhaps never got to fulfill. If you're feeling overwhelmed by what's appearing in your life, whether it's opportunities, clarity, support, or even unexpected financial breakthroughs, is your permission to slow down, to receive in pieces, to digest the energy as it moves through you. You don't need to have it all figured out. What matters is your willingness to say, I'm ready to hold what has been passed to me with care. That willingness opens inner doors far more powerful than anything external could ever unlock. In your quiet moments, allow yourself to be with that. Light a violet candle. Wear something that makes you feel both grounded and expansive. Write the name of the one who left, and beside it, write your own. Let your breath be the bridge between the two. And remember, abundance is not a departure from loss, it's a continuation of love. The kind of love that doesn't end when a heartbeat stops. The kind of love that rises again, this time through you. Scorpio, if you've made it this far, pause and take a deep breath, not just to reflect, but to receive. Everything we've explored together in this space has been gently guiding you toward one sacred truth. You are not here by accident, and what is unfolding in your life right now carries far more meaning than you may have realized. There is a divine rhythm in the way things are irrevocably, powerfully, and with great purpose. The money, the clarity, the shift in your inner compass, it is not about luck. And it is certainly not about chance. It is about timing. It is about readiness. It is about a legacy being passed to someone who can carry it with love, not fear, with wisdom, not guilt. You have always been that person, the one who held space for others while hiding your own ache, the one who sensed things before they appeared, who dreamed in symbols and felt everything in full color. And now the universe is turning toward you and whispering, you're the one. But here's the question only you can answer. Will you step forward and claim what is already yours? Will you allow the transformation that has already begun to complete its circle through you? I want you to think about this. What if this money, this opportunity, this moment of alignment isn't just for your survival but for your expansion? What if it's been divinely timed to arrive now, after all you've been through? Because only now would you know what to do with it. And even more deeply, what if this isn't about the material at all, but about the soul assignment that only you could fulfill? You were never meant to carry the pain without purpose. You were never meant to grieve without growth. You were never meant to stay waiting at the threshold of your own life. And perhaps the one who left will open this energetic techno at some deeper level, that you would take the next step, that you would make something meaningful out of the mystery, that you would turn absence into intention and carry forward the light they could no longer hold. So ask yourself, what have I been denying myself because I believe I hadn't earned it? What doors have I ignored because I thought someone else was more deserving? What if the true thesis was always meant to walk through them? And if something in your heart says yes, even a small, cautious yes, and write it into your energy by saying it out loud or writing it in the comments below. I am ready to step into the sacred legacy meant for me. Let the words root deeply. Let them be a prayer, a declaration, a doorway. Thank you from the deepest place in my heart for being here, for giving your presence to this moment, for listening not just with your ears, but with your soul. Every like, every comment, every subscription to Miracle of the Sign is not just support for this channel, it is a step closer to your own inner awakening. You are part of something real, something sacred, and your energy helps us continue to deliver these messages that heal, uplift, and gently realign us with who we truly are. So please, don't keep this moment to yourself. Share it with someone who might be standing at the same spiritual doorway. And if you haven't already, subscribe so we can walk this journey together. Because the path ahead of you is rich not just with financial blessings, but with soul purpose, divine timing, and the kind of peace that doesn't come from having it all figured out, but from knowing you're exactly where you're meant to be. You are not just surviving, you are rising. You are not just starting again, you are writing a new future, one rooted in grace, guided by light, and worthy of every single blessing that comes next. And that, Scorpio, is your sacred inheritance.